Okay, so cellmates. I've been sober for about 10 years, and initially you are worried about all of your partying friends. I was really worried that those friends would not stay my friends. A lot of them didn't. Some of those buddies are still my buddies to this day, and I was running into those friends along the road, and we found ourselves talking about the old days as if it was just all fun, as if nobody got hurt, and meanwhile we were all in a lot of pain, and it made me laugh. It reminded me of that guy from Shawshank Redemption, that age-old thing where a prisoner gets out of jail and is so uncomfortable with the outside world that they figure out a way to get back into jail because they miss that way of life. And I felt oftentimes that's what sobriety felt like, at least in the early times.
You should have seen us at 22, like Brian Keenan's first tattoo. Way out of line, crooked and mild, we would lose.
I had a better lyric for that first verse. I had, you should have seen us at 22, like a stick and poke jail tattoo. I was gonna like add something to the whole cellmates prison metaphor. When Luke and Tim and I were writing the song, I was in shorts, and Luke was looking at some tattoos on my leg and making fun of them. And I was like, you know, that was Brian Keenan's first tattoo, or one of his first tattoos. Luke was like, why don't we put that in the song? And I didn't want to do that. I love Brian Keenan so much. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. He's got a really successful tattoo business, and I didn't want to goof on him. I actually opened for the Souls when we were writing these songs at one point, and I ran it by him. Brian had just taken his tequila just before he went on stage, and I said, hey, I got this new song, and I've got 2 different lyrics. And he listened real intently. He was about to go on stage, and he goes, it's better with me in it. You have my blessing.
Pills and powders, baby powders and pills. Holes right inside, you know that you'll never get filled. Chris for the murder mill. Rack up the tab but never pay the bill. You should have seen me by 35. Just shaking like a dog on the 4th of July last week.
One of the last times I did drugs was on the 4th of July here in Santa Barbara. And so I wanted to get that little bit in there as like a nod to that weird last time.
Now we're stuck in the in-between. We mainline nostalgia like amphetamine. Dress up the past like it's Halloween. The killer's coming back to the crime scene. We mainline nostalgia like amphetamine. And now
I do think we mainline nostalgia, you know, as a culture. This also ties in with the idea of revisionist history. We act like the past was so much easier. I think a lot of that's just because we've already lived it. We can have hindsight. But the past wasn't always better. In fact, it rarely ever is. I'm always thinking, better we go forward and see what's to come.
back when we were cellmates.